Social media is really useful in our real estate industry, really any industry. But when I got started in real estate, I didn't know anything. I didn't really come from a background. I didn't know one of my family, none of my friends were in real estate. So I just came into it very green. I mean, I'm wearing green. That was the moment.
No pun intended. No.
No pun intended. So when I got started too, it was the pandemic hit. So I was licensed, and a month later, COVID hit. So we weren't allowed to do open houses anymore. We weren't really supposed to be door knocking. There was just a lot of that person-to-person contact, that a lot of old methods of real estate that are still really useful, but we just couldn't do them. So I just took to social media. And what worked for me is that I just provided a lot of educational content because people thought I was more experienced and had been in the business longer than what I actually was, but I was posting things as I learned it. Mm-hmm. So I came from a purely, educational perspective of just trying to share value and information and a lot of terminology. And what I learned through all that is there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of confusion about real estate. I think like all, you guys and myself, we're in it every day. So we assume people know these things. They know what an interest rate is, or, what escrow is. And it's when you really break it down and start sharing it with people, they actually don't really know a lot of the terminology. Mm-hmm. So I was able to connect with a lot of people, I think, just on the pure, appreciation that they wanted the value and they wanted to learn more. So I think for people that struggle with social media, or they don't know what to post, or they're, it's uncomfortable. I mean, you don't always have to put yourself on camera, although that's really beneficial because you want people to know who you are and to see who you are. But if you have trouble doing that, just take it to the basics and just share valuable content and education, and people will really grasp onto that.
I have that problem, I'm one of those. No, but it's like on the social media post, like I follow you and I follow your lender as well too, and Chris. When you guys get together, I just love the pieces that you guys put together in social media. But I think that you're doing a great job, because you're doing a lot of different things that I don't really see a lot of realtors doing in social media. And that's where, like, for us, we're trying to get more comfortable with it as well. Because for me, I'm the type of guy that I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be on camera, but I'm like, who cares, right? It's more about putting the message out. Because I think in today's society, it's like, we want to do more social media, but for the wrong reasons, versus if we do social media to put, teach people certain things or advice, right? I think it'll go a longer way, especially what you do. I mean, it's like some of the social media posts that I see that you do, they're very informative. So I know that people are going to reach out to you right away.
Right.
Because, you have that good delivery.
Yeah, and there's so much content that we can share because there's so much information. And the cool part about real estate is it's always changing. I mean, look at 6 months ago to now. Now the conversations are a little bit different. Now we're talking about loan programs more where we weren't before. Mm-hmm. So it's cool because we get to constantly change our content. We're not really going to be, sharing the same thing over and over. We can stay relative. It's very similar stuff, but we're changing the conversations and kind of, resharing, which is very easy to do. So you shouldn't run out of ideas in real estate.
You have to always reinvent yourself every day. It's like, I always try to tell people, it's like you have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable, but you're always having to reinvent anything that you're doing now, especially with how the market is right now, how there's a lot of people just like, oh, what do I do? Do I pause or do I just quit the industry,
Yeah.
But we're having to reinvent ourselves because now we can become the leaders.
True, very true.
And so you connected us with Robert. Harvest Landscape Enterprises was looking for a space in the Inland Empire to expand operations.
Correct.
And so we were looking for, helping you look for a space for that. But can you kind of give us some background on you, Robert, and how you got involved with Harvest Landscape Enterprises and what your role is there?
So I'm the CPO for Harvest Landscape. I've been going on my third year in the industry. I've been with the landscape industry for 15 years. So it's key to have locations, whether brick and mortar or open space, for our density of our properties. Because again, less drive time on the freeways or streets means more time on your property. And so for us, that's key for us. And so we've been now, next year we'll be celebrating our 20th year in business.
Fantastic.
And so we're pretty excited because we're growing in Orange County. We're growing in San Diego County, the Inland Empire, both in Riverside and also in San Bernardino. So again, as we're working with your team, we've been very fortunate to have some great locations available to us, again, through your contacts, which allows us to look at those areas for us as a business plan. Because again, it's always about strategizing with huge properties and then now backfill with the density. And then if we have a location there, it just makes it that much easier for us to provide that service.
And when you guys are looking to expand into an area, is there a metric that you look for as far as the number of clients you service before you say, you know what, I've got to put a hub in that area now?
You know, it's kind of the philosophy of like, you know, we build it, they'll come type of attitude. But I think because of our penetration that we get into certain markets, it almost kind of grows organically. So sure, it would be great to have a plan ahead and say, this is what we want for these areas. But again, it's always about now having that relationship with our homeowners, you know, our HOAs and our property management companies. So once they kind of help us get our foot in the door, our services and our, you know, as you kind of again talked about educating, we need to be the leaders in our industry in order for us to sit there and drive that to our clients. And so once we do that, again, we've got so many different assets within our staff. You know, we have arborists, we have horticulturists, we have water managers. You know, we have so many different people that come and bring information to our clients.
And I think from what I've seen you guys doing on social media, a lot of what you're bringing is a lot of technology. And you're not just bringing just the service, but you're adding equipment that's, you know, top of the line, getting into really good water conservation equipment and things that'll allow your client to not only have a good looking property, but to be water conscious and water wise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We just recently purchased a RC mower, which is a remote control mower.
Wow.
And so this basically helps reduce any injuries or labor that we're having shortages in labor. So this machine actually goes and can climb slopes and do what's called a fuel modification. So the fire authority allows us to have 100 feet from any structure, and we have to clear that out throughout different types of communities. And so those machines are available to us because before we have now people that have to tie in, lower themselves, risk of injury.
Mm-hmm.
But with this machine, it's able to do that within, I think, a quarter of the time. So an
That's
ROI
fantastic.
and an investment like that is something that the company's always looking at because we're investing in either science or technology in order to get a higher return for our clients. So that's one key thing that we've been doing.
So one thing is that you guys are basically like innovators for the industry.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, based on what you're telling me that you guys do, I just don't think that there's other companies that are close to what you guys are doing right now. And I think you guys are probably just setting up the path to a great launch.